Right, hello again. We are now going to do activity number 1. Actually, activity number 1, activity 1 number 4 on page 78 of your textbooks. So we're going to do a parcel delivery company, and there's a lot of factors here, a lot of things to worry about. First of all, you have to get it clear in our heads. The basic cost is R1.23 per kilogram plus transport cost. So the transport cost is going to be per kilometer based on the mode of transport. So we have the weight and then the mode of transport, whether it's road, train, air or ship. So a lot of nested if statements over here. Then the other thing we have to worry about, if the customer wants to insure, we're going to add 11% of the basic cost. The basic cost is this and this. Okay, so 11% of all of that once it's calculated with that. So that's for insurance, and then for high priority it's 15% of the basic cost. So I'm guessing we're going to have a variable to hold how many kilograms and then how many kilometers. Then we're going to have a variable to hold the basic cost. After that we'll have a variable for the insurance cost, and we have a variable to hold the priority cost. Then we have to have another variable for VAT, which will be the basic based on the total cost after we've added the insurance and the priority and the basic. Then we're going to do a VAT, and we'll make it 14%. 14% will be our VAT. Okay, only the total cost needs to be displayed, and then we're going to use this data to test our program. Right, first things first, where's the program? There it is. Got to get our weight from this edit box and distance in kilometers in that edit box. Now these edit boxes are labeled edits. Don't be afraid of that. All it means is it's got a little label attached to it. So when you move it around, the label goes with it. See? It's called a labeled edit. You can get it in the tool palette. But that's not so important. We know it works just like an edit box, but it's called LBL EDT weight, and this is LBL EDT distance. Okay, and this is a checkbox for insurance and a checkbox for high priority. Yeah, these are checkboxes because you can be insured and have high priority, but for transport you can only have one of these. So this is why this is a radio group box, because they're only going to choose one. You can't have train and air or road and train. It can only be one transport method, but you can check either of those, both of them. Now calculate cost button is where it's all going to happen. We don't have any global variables here, so we will use this labeled edit, get our variables in, and we're going to use real numbers right throughout the whole program. Reason being that, yeah, our weight, our distance, what other variables did you say we wanted? For the insurance, the priority, our insure, our priority. What else do we want? We want another variable for the VAT, our VAT, and then finally our total. But we also have to have our basic. Because remember, the basic is going to be the weight and the distance, cost for the weight and the cost for the distance added up. So our basic has to be there as well. So we have a whole string of real numbers here, a whole lot of them. Colon real. Quite a mouthful. Let's do the first two, our weight and our distance. So our weight will be equal to, now remember the labeled edit, LBL EDT weight dot text is a string and the left hand side is real, so we have to say string to float. Open the brackets, and there's that one. And the same for our dist. We're getting our input from the edit boxes, remember, string to float, and the name of the edit box is lbledt distance dot text. Okay, so we get those two from our edit boxes. Now let's go back and read our instruction. It says the basic cost is R1.23 times by the weight. So I'm going to say R basic equals 1.25 times by R weight. But if we want to go and add the base and the transport, because we have to have plus the transport, we have to go through a whole lot of nested if statements for our road. If it's a road, we're going to multiply 0.15 by the distance. If it's train, we're going to multiply 0.12 by the distance. If it's air, we multiply 0.36 by the distance. If it's a ship, we multiply 0.25 by the distance. Take note, we're not going to use the rand symbols. We're using real numbers. So now, how do we get the things from the radio group boxes? Let's have a look. This is a radio group RGB, RDG transport, and we use the item index. The first item of our radio group box, if I go to items of the radio group box, you can see they're there, but you can also go and have a look on the items property of that radio group box. Click the three dots next to items, and then you'll see there they are as well. First one is always 0 for the item index. Second one will be the item index of 1. The third one will be the item index of 2. And the fourth one will have an item index of 3. So now we know that fact. In our button click, we have to say if RDG transport sport dot item index equals 0. Then what are we going to do? We'll say R basic equals the previous R basic plus, then we multiply R basic times what number? 0.15. Take note, we're not using the rand symbol. But now we've got to use an else, because we can only have one of them. Else, if. Now we've got to put another if statement here, because we're checking for item index of 1. If the item index equals 1, then we will say R basic equals R basic, see I'm copying and pasting, times what number? Let's have a look. If it's 1, what was our 1? The train is 0.12, hey? Let's have a look. This, the second one here is item index 1, which is a train, so it's 0.12. Then we have to have an else again. Else, if the item index is 2, see, we did 0, else if it's 1, then we do that, else if it's 2, then we're multiplying, we add, our basic is going to be, what will it be? The previous basic plus the basic times by, you can put brackets here, but luckily for us, the processor works with BODMAS just like we know with maths. It'll automatically do the multiplication first, luckily. You don't have to put the brackets there. Okay, but what is item index 2? Which is the third one here, which is air. And then we go to our see it, air is 36 cents. So it's times 0.36. Else, I'm going to do another else for the last one. If the item index is 3, that will be the fourth one. Then our basic, why am I saying R basic equals that? Yes, because we are calculating the basic, because the basic says it's the kilograms plus the transport per kilometer. Right, so the last one is ship. Let's make sure ship is 0.25. Ship is the last one. That's item index 3. So it's 0.25 that we have to type here. And there we've done it. We've got the basic. R basic is calculated. That big, a lot of nested if statements. Okay. Now the next thing is we have to worry about is the insurance. If the checkbox for insurance is checked, so let's go and see, that's called CBX insure. If CBX insure dot checked, you can say equals true, then we are going to take 15% of our, I must put a semicolon there, okay? Take note, in the if then else, there was no semicolon before the else. That's the rule, no semicolon before the else, but right at the end of the nested if statement, that semicolon must be there. Sorry, going back to the checkbox. If CBX insure.check equals true, then we're going to calculate our insurance. Our insure equals R basic, okay, times by, how much is the insurance? 11%. 11 divided by 100. And then we're going to do the other one for the priority. The CBX, where's the priority? There it is, high priority, CBX priority. If CBX priority dot checked equals true, dot check equals true, then our insure will be the basic times by 15%, because it says the priority cost calculated is 15% of the basic, 11% of the basic, 50% of the basic. So we're doing those two. So it's 15% of the basic. Right. Now, here's the thing. We've declared our insure as a local variable, so it's going to be set to some random number. And what if a checked isn't true? Well, we better set it to 0 right over here. Our insure, before we do anything, let's make it 0. Remember, local variables, you must check numbers, priority, local variables, integers and reals. You've got to set them to 0, initialize them if you're not giving them some value elsewhere. But over here, what if they didn't check it? Then our insure is going to be some random number instead of this nice calculation. Therefore, we've got to make sure it's 0 to start off with, eh? And same with our, this is our priority. Priority. If the CBX priority is not checked, then the R priority, our variable that we made over here, our insure, our priority, that's going to be set to a value if the priority is checked. But if it's not checked, we've got to make sure that it is a value of 0. Because why? We're going to add them all up now. Because now our R basic is going to be basic equals previous R basic. We've got to add our insurance, our insure, plus insure plus our priority. Okay, we've got to add the insurance and the priority to the basic, so that's what I'm doing. I'm saying R basic equals the previous R basic plus the insurance plus the priority. Now, if we hadn't calculated insurance and priority over there, and if we hadn't made it, then we're okay, because now it's 0. Okay. If they didn't want insurance, they didn't want priority, then our insure and our priority will be 0, and that will be safe. And now we're going to do our VAT, and then our total. So our VAT is going to be 14% of the basic. There's quicker ways of doing this, but I'm doing the long way so you can see. So must be calculated and added to the total cost, the basic cost plus the insurance plus the priority. So I'm saying our VAT equals our basic times by 14 divided by 100. Then we're going to say our total equals our basic plus our VAT. Now some of you will probably say, well, we could have done it faster, but you know, you keep your head clear this way and we know that it's correct. So our total is the basic plus the VAT. So we calculated each thing separately and then we added them all together. Now we're going to display it, because they said the only thing we're going to display is the total in the panel called P&L cost dot caption equals, okay, and I'm going to say float to string F. It's a real value. Our total must be displayed in the caption, so we have to say float to string F because our total is a floating point, the caption is a string, and I'm using my formatting FF currency that we've learned before, comma 8, comma 2. Now if you've forgotten the float to string F, the 4 parameters are, the first one is the real number we're converting to a string, float to string, and the F means now we can go and put in our FF currency to make it look like rands and cents, and then 8 will be the number of digits altogether including the decimal points, and the 2 is rounding it to 2 decimal points. So that's the program done, and let's go and test it on some data that they told us to use over there. So I'm going to say weight of 10, kilometers 100, and yes, insurance, and method of travel is road, and I should get 35 rand, and that is not correct. Hey, 100 kilometers, 10 is the weight, mode of transport is road, insurance is yes, higher priority is no, it's supposed to be 35. Right, let's see, what have I done wrong? This else if item index is 0, that was our road, eh? And I did check that. Our basic was that times by the weight, which we get from the LBL EDT weight. The distance, LBL EDT distance, was 100. That went into this one. Okay. If the transport RDD item index is 0, then we say R basic equals the previous R basic plus 15%, which is 0.15. Oh no, it's 15. Oh, times 15 cents. Let's see if I got this right. Per kilometer, yeah, 0.15 times the times by the distance. Not basic. R distance. There, that was my mistake. Distance times by 0.15. So with all of these, the distance times 0.12. The distance times 0.36. So that's what I did wrong there, right over there, the distance. I wasn't concentrating. That happens too. Okay, so that should, everything else should be right. So it was just that thing that I made a mistake. We're not taking the basic times 0.36, we're adding the distance times 0.36 and so on. And take note, it doesn't matter whether you put brackets or not. Right, let's go and test it again. Don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to put in a 10 here and 100 there. And I should get 35 rand. Let's see, 34 rand 80. That's fine. Let's round it up to 35. So they didn't do the rounding. Now we're going to try another one quickly. I'm going to do a 23.8 and a 320. They're going to do ship and insurance no, priority yes, and that should be 118. It says 23.8, 320. Air, sorry, air. There we go. That is right. 190. 320, high priority, yes. Now let's do 2 yeses. I'm going to put in 40.5, distance of 250, train, yes, and insurance and high priority, and that should be 115, which is close enough. That's fine. Thank you. So we finished. try this by yourself.